So we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Thank you for coming to the meeting today on animal control officers with the City of Deltona. I'd like to introduce Commissioner King and let him kick off the meeting. Not that he needs an introduction, but.
I thank y'all for being here. I'm not going to spend any time giving any reports or telling you anything what's going on, but I do appreciate you being here. I hope you have questions. I hope we have lots of answers from our officials that are here today. So with that, I'm just going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you.
Let's get started.
This is going to go, we're going to have a brief slide presentation. You're going to hear from the members of the Enforcement Services section, and everything's going to be focused on animal control. Hold the questions till the end, because I'm hoping to answer several of the questions during the slide presentation. And then once we get all the way through, we'll answer your questions. I ask that we do not keep it to individual addresses or individual complaints. We will be available afterwards, so you can come to us and say, my neighbor at 123 Main Lane has this going on, we'll look into it. But we will keep it on the 10,000 foot level if you want to talk about a dog running loose or anything of that sort. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The animal control is part of the enforcement services, and they also do code enforcement and solid waste. Their mission is basically providing guidance for the safety and welfare of the residents of Deltona. And we get that through compliance. And our sole mission is compliance. They're city employees, and I'm going to keep harping on this at least one or two more times, but just listen to the years they have up there. That is a good indicator that they enjoy their job and they have a passion for their job. So as we go through, you'll be listening to the varied experience of the employees. They serve both roles, like I said earlier, and their responsibility is to enforce the state statutes and the city code as passed by the commission. They're all certified professionals. There's a state certification being animal control officer. There's also a national one, and I think we have one or two that are nationally certified. So you have some highly educated animal control officers that are very passionate about what they do. That's one of the things I have found since my short time here is they love the animals. They love what they do. The primary focus, once again, is on the prevention of animal neglect and cruelty, and through public education, which is one of the things we're going to get to. We're putting a program out. We're going to have a lot more public education on every facet of what they do. So now I want to turn it over to Mr. Mark Gibson.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Officer Gibson. I've been with the City of Deltona roughly 22 and a half years. I started in 1998 as a permit clerk, and I'm now currently one of the two supervisors for animal control, code enforcement, and solid waste. So what I'm going to do is try to give you a little bit of the history of animal control. We were incorporated in 1995. So residents wanted a higher level of government service for the community. So what we did is, in 1997, the city decided to establish its own animal control. So animal control was then combined with code enforcement in 2004. This allowed the department to provide a more efficient service for the residents of Deltona. So what we have here is our staffing history. And as you can see, in 1997, we had only two animal control officers for a population of 57,000 people. Just keep in mind that we combined code enforcement with animal control in 2004. You'll notice that there was an increase in 2008. So that was because we had combined code enforcement and animal control in 2004. So in 2008, you see the big number of officers. But what happened then is we ended up having a recession. So then you'll see a decrease was in animal control officers in 2010. Well, of course, like I explained earlier, that was due to the recession that we had in '08. So we're currently staffed now for 12 officers with a population of 94,000 people. So what I'm going to do now is Officer Ron is going to give a little further more in detail with the history of animal control.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm not an officer anymore, but I am still part of the department. My name is Danny Ron. I'm customer service supervisor for the department. If you happen to call City Hall and complain when it comes to code enforcement and animal control, that's the department I am in charge of. And actually, we have the dispatcher that handles the animal calls. She's here today, this evening, and will be part of the presentation. I've been working with the city for Deltona since 2003. I was an animal control officer, code enforcement officer for 15 years. My current position for the last 2 years. First slide, we'll have numbers. We have numbers from 2019 and 2020. Animal control calls is the third highest type of call for code enforcement that we go and handle. There was a decrease from 2019 to 2020, and I'm thinking that it was due because 2020 was, we had COVID and more families were home at that time, so there's less dogs being loose. But we still had a high number of cases that we had to go and handle. Just under 2,000 for 2020. These are some of the categories that we respond to when it comes to animal control. Our top one is the animal at large, dogs at large, nuisance, cruelty, found animals, prohibited animals, deceased animal wellness checks. We'll talk about some of these later on in the presentation. Now, how does a responsive city government provide animal control services for the benefit of the entire community? Being reactive and being proactive. Reactive, complaint-driven from the community that's out there seeing these violations, and we're receiving them. My staff is assigned on which we receive them, and there's different methods to receive these complaints. On the left-hand side, we have different methods. We do have a hotline, which Ms. Patty Mullen, she's our dispatcher for the animal control at City Hall, the 386-878-8701. We also have an app. You can do it submit a complaint through your phone. Android and iPhone users, and it's Deltona My 311. We have a city website. Throughout the website, there's different places on there, so you can put a complaint. And let's just say you accidentally put it into the wrong department, it will definitely get forwarded to our department, and we can dispatch that complaint to the officers. We have an email, acontrol@deltonafl.gov. You can send us a complaint through that way also. We have a Facebook page. Within the last couple of years, we added a Facebook page. Now, with this Facebook page for the lost animals of City Deltona, our officers actually have iPhones now, and if they pick up an animal, they'll post that found animal on that site. And we're hoping by the time we make that trip to the Humane Society, the owner or friend or family member sees that post and calls us, and that way we can get that pet back home before we make that trip to the Humane Society. We're hoping also, collars with tags, perfect. If there's a good number, microchip, all that so will help us try to get the pet back home. As with chip, just make sure that information is current on that chip. A lot of times we get happy when we do find a chip, but guess what? No information or the information on that chip is not current. Being proactive. The officers are out there all day long already addressing code violations, animal calls. They have their big list for the day. If they see a violation, they'll initiate a complaint when it comes to the animal complaint. Some other types of cases that we go out for is aggressive animals. We want to make sure if we do get an aggressive dog out there, we want to make sure we locate it and we secure it. That way we have make sure the community is safe. We definitely don't want no bites, and let's just say if there was a bite that occurs, there's a little more steps we have to proceed, because we have to report that to the health department, Volusia County Health Department. And we put that pet on quarantine for 10 days. We also have nuisance animals we deal with. We're in Florida, we have snakes. We get snake calls all the time. We do have venomous snakes in the area. And we take appropriate action once we get it. We'll pretty much just drop what we're doing if we have confirmation there's a poison snake at that location, and that we can get to it as quickly as possible and remove it from the property. We do get animal cruelties throughout the day sometimes. It might not be a serious case. It might be no proper watering, no shelter provided. We live in Florida. That sun's beaming. We want to make sure there's shelters provided for that pet that's outside. It is a state law. And even though that my pet might not want to go in there, but it's still required by state law. We set up a flow chart, kind of explain the procedures, what happens when we open up a case. We're going to take, let's just say, a loose dog case and use that as this. We get the case, we'll dispatch it to the officer, we'll enter a case for the officer, and we'll get that started. They go out to the location. They might not see a violation. They might not find that dog. We'll just easily close out that case. Let's just say we do find that dog. We impound it, place it in our vehicle. The officers, they're required to take a photo of that pet, scan it. Every truck now has a scanner. And prepare that pet, secure it into the truck, until we have to make that trip. Now, we're hoping we find the owners. And let's say we did find the owners, we're going to address the violation that the dog was out loose, unrestrained, without the owners being around the area. So we're either going to return to the owner with a warning, with no follow-up. We put it here, a return to owner with follow-up. Let's just say we found something. Let's just say there was no proof of rabies vaccination. There's no city license on that dog. We'll follow up on another call on that. Just put it out for 7 days, most of the time 7 days. And we'll check to see, make sure that was corrected. Let's just say we went back 7 days and that was corrected. We'll close out the case then. If it wasn't corrected, we could take the next step will be either issue a citation or present that case in front of the special magistrate. Some other calls that we have are prohibited animals. We don't allow monkeys unless there's a license. Florida Wildlife Commission controls all that. Texas just had a case about a tiger being, as a pet. It got out, guess what? Now they won't allow him to have it. I don't think we've had a tiger here in the city, so that's good. We do get a lot of calls for deceased animals. Unfortunately, we do not put deceased animals in our vehicles, but we do have a procedure that we'll dispatch an officer to go check it out. If it's a domestic animal, we're looking for a chip or collar with tags, if that's available, so that way we can, maybe get with the owner and let them know this is where the pet's at. And unfortunately, it got hit by a vehicle and it's deceased at the moment. We don't do that for wildlife. But let's just say we don't have an owner, it's wildlife, we'll call Waste Pro to handle it. Then we have a contract with them and they handle our deceased animals on the road. Ms. Angela Meyer is going to take over for now, and she'll continue the presentation.
Hi, my name is Angela Meyer. I am with the City of Deltona since 2002. So I'm 19 years working for the City of Deltona. I'm currently at the position as Administrative Supervisor for Building Enforcement Services and also the hearing clerk for the Special Magistrate. When it comes to emergency services, our officers, they respond for calls for 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. There's always somebody on call for those emergency calls. And those are more related to dog bites when a dog is at large, aggressive animals to assist other agencies like the fire or the police. So they are on call from 7 at night to 7 in the morning. And the regular hours of work is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On case resolutions, most of the cases, actually, not a lot of cases go to the magistrate. Usually nuisance, when it's related to constantly at large or vicious animals or disturbing noises or barking excessive over 15 minutes. Those are, if they continue on the violation, they are brought up to the special magistrate. The process is the same as with any other code case. It needs to be presented by the code enforcement officer, and it's brought up to the magistrate. He will make a decision on that case based on the facts. And once he makes his order, then it's up to the county if you want to make any appeal on any decision by the special magistrate. Some of the cases go to the civil court, like civil citations that can only be contested at the county, and animal life safety cases like cruelty, dog bite. Those are usually done by the civil court. What we always remember is that in everything we do, we provide the highest level of service, and always remember that the policies are set for our own benefit. So now we have Patty, who's going to address the TNR program.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patty Mullins, and I'm the voice that you hear when you call animal control. It's good to see everyone here. And one thing I would like to point out is, I believe Mr. O'Grady mentioned the years of experience on this panel here. I'm the relative newbie. I've only been with the city for about 2 years. But these people, they will tell you that I bother them constantly and pick their brain because every animal case is different. Every animal case seems to present an anomaly in some way, shape, or form. So, with that being said, the first thing I'd like to talk about are the feral cat issues. I'm not sure if my slide's not up yet. There we go. I'm not very good with the clicker, so please be patient with me. So with the feral cat situation, we have had this issue for years here in the city of Deltona. And it's something that we have to find a balance with, okay? We have to balance the owner rights as well as pet owner rights, the property owner rights versus pet owner rights. We do need to find a balance. And how, as a city, do we do that? We have been looking at best practices, and what best practices means is we're looking at other municipalities and larger cities to come up with a way where they've implemented successful practices. We would like to also adopt those practices to provide the success in our community. So what we have the trap, neuter, and release program, which is something that other cities have also implemented. Sorry. So the city has invested a lot of money in the TNR program, and it is managed by volunteers. The goal of the TNR program is to stabilize, did I mess up? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So the goal of TNR is to stabilize the feral cat population. And one thing I would like to point out is that the city monies that we have a grant of $50,000, that money does not go directly to the volunteers. That is provided for, no?
No, it doesn't go directly.
Okay.
Because I'm a volunteer.
I know, I know. So that grant money goes to pay for veterinary services. So whenever a cat is trapped, a feral cat is trapped and has an appointment to see the vet for the spay-neuter program, not only do they receive the spay-neuter service, but also any other issues that may be coming up with that cat, like if they're infested with fleas, they can't do the surgery, so they have to take care of the fleas. They also administer rabies shots as well. So we're currently in the process of a complete comprehensive overhaul or audit of the TNR program. We recognize that there are many sides to this issue and that people who take a position are equally passionate about the cats, okay? So all sides have to be weighed for us to come up with a solution, and the determination will be made based on facts. Now, as far as moving forward, I'd like to say that our animal control officers do not get to decide how they perform their duties, okay? So it's not arbitrary. They follow the lawful direction of their managers, city ordinances, state statutes, and city policies and procedures. You know, I think I lost my place, guys. I apologize. So, I do apologize. So, okay, so as far as our cats and pets go, owners are required to obtain pet licenses for dogs and cats living within the city limits. And the city ordinance does require pet owners to spay or neuter dogs and cats that are older than 6 months. And with that, I would like to introduce Officer Richard Lovett, who's going to talk to you about TNR by the numbers. Thank you for your patience with me. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Betty.
Thanks, Betty.
So, my name is Richard Lovett. I'm one of the Enforcement Services Supervisor, and I've been with the city since 2000. I started as an animal control officer. So, I've seen a lot of the changes that's happened from being an animal control officer up until what we're seeing now. So, when we're looking at what TNR has helped us do by the numbers, if you look at our numbers here, we have a slowly, steady climb every year of our costs that we were using for take animals to the shelter. Shelters were getting overrun, so it came up with, and this is TNR. When we say TNR is not something that the city said, hey, this is the best idea. This is by statewide, this is nationwide, this is being practiced throughout the country. So yes, it's all still a new process, but it's still going. So by using TNR, and by going into and going, okay, what else can we do? We've got social media. Let's give the officers cell phones. Let's have them post straight to Facebook. As soon as on our lost dog page, as soon as we get an animal, we cut down the times, we can cut down our intake costs. And we've been able to drastically cut the amount of money we've been able to spend. So, going more about the benefits that TNR has helped us. So, from being an animal control officer, I can tell you this. It was an everyday thing is you had 10 cats on the truck by 10 a.m. We always said 10 by 10. That was a constant, it didn't change. We were always picking up cats. And for doing it for 15 years in the field, did that ever slow down? No, it didn't. So we knew picking up that many cats wasn't solving the problem. We were just putting a Band-Aid on it. And that's really what it comes down to. So what other benefits does it have besides that? So if that animal control officer picked up a cat, they have to drive it over to the humane side. That's a half-an-hour trip over to Deltona, half-an-hour trip back. That's 1 hour out of the city. So if they get over there, and let's just say they're fourth in line, and everybody else, we have to wait for them to process every other city. Just because we have one animal does not mean we get the jump. They take you in order. So we could sit there, when we say it's an average of 2 hours when we leave the city. Doesn't matter if we have one dog, one cat, what we have on the truck. We average about 2 hours. So in that 2 hour time, that's a lot more stuff we could be doing inside the city to help our residents. So, and every cat we were taking was costing us $90. That was a hefty bill that we were paying all the time. So, and we keep saying about the future. So, in the future, you always have to look at the past, what's worked, what hasn't. And a lot of things we had, yes, we thought were working in the past, but they weren't working good enough. So we have to make those changes to make ourselves better. So that's why we went out and we spent money. We put scanners in every truck. We went out and we bought all the officers' iPhones. So we're sitting there going, if we can cut down that time limit, I mean, we put it on the truck. We had one today. We picked up the dog at 10 a.m. We had him reunited with the owner by 12. Only 2 hours. That's pretty good. So, and, you know, we're trying to get with different volunteer groups to help us get this. We have some here that help us really good trying to get animals back. They know these animals that are in this area. We know a lot of these animals, but also other groups that are out there trying to help us reunite these animals back. They know a lot of what other people are looking for too. So keep going with the future. So we combined animal control with code enforcement and with solid waste. Now, why did we do that? Because it made more sense. These are considered what we consider best practices. So with that time that I was out at the Humane Society, if I'm out at Humane Societies for 2 hours, there's an emergency call, and I'm the only officer on duty because it happened, and they got an emergency call, guess what? Well, I'm stuck in Daytona. I'll get to it when I get there. There's nobody else to run the call. So the idea was, let's combine everything. Let's put everybody together. We'll have more officers. We'll be able to faster response times. We'll have more backup. We'll be able to get better service to everybody. But we also have to take advantage of community partnerships and outreach programs. We're trying to always come up with new partners to help us out, help us get animals back quicker, help us be able to take some of these impound numbers down. We're always looking at trying not to take the animals unless we absolutely have to. So, one department, 3 missions, and that's what we're about. We're about giving you the best service that we can. 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. We're on holidays and everything else. We talked about that today. I think there's only 4 days that we actually will take off. But the rest of that time, we are here. We are here serving you. We always have somebody on. We always make sure that no matter what, even on a holiday, we have at least 2 officers on the field, out in the field to be able to help you. Because if one has to go to Humane Society, one needs to be here to have backup, to have help. So we're always going to be there. So, and this is our current staffing as of right now. So these are the current officers we have out in the field. And like Mr. O'Grady said, yes, all of our officers are animal control certified. 4 of our officers have more than a certification that's actually needed for the job. And 1 is a nationally certified animal control investigator. All right, and we'll turn it over to questions. Thank you.
Just a couple of things I want to point out real quick before we get started. The experience that you hear there is been there for years. So part of what my role is helping them tell their story. You guys have a very good animal control department, and I'm just trying to get them from good to great, because they're already there. They're doing their job, and we're just telling their story. Are there some things that we can improve? Absolutely, and that's what we're doing here and identifying, so we can go back and retool it and then bring it back out bigger and better. One of the things, and I'll just throw it out there, the TNR program, we are looking at the TNR program. We are looking at best practices. But that's what these town halls are about. We want to hear from you. We want to get your input, put it in with what is best practice nationwide, and then roll out the best TNR program around. Our goal is to have other cities and counties look and see what Deltona's doing right. And that way we don't have to go look at what other jurisdictions are doing right. That, we want to make Deltona a leader in this area. So I will open it up to questions, and I think they're just going to stand up and proceed, or do we have a microphone? Okay. So if you have a question, just please stand up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so they did such a good job.
I'll start.
Thank you. I know. Usually when I say that, someone says,
You know I have lots to say. So a good question, I guess, is if a resident sees anywhere, say a dog they think is tied up all the time, all day, all night, because we have the anti-tethering ordinance, what should they and what shouldn't they do in that type of situation? And like, what can they do to help animal control? Because I know like they can't just show up and say, hey, your dog's being tied. They have to have some kind of proof that it's actually happening to actually even address it to begin
Well,
with.
so my background's law enforcement. What I used to tell them was, what you should do is call, no matter what. Call, that's what you pay us for. We'll go out there and figure it out. So in this example, I'm gonna ask you to call us. We're gonna go out there, we'll do the investigation. And if it is all good, then we will get back with you if you leave your name, and we'll explain to you what's going on. If it's not, then we're gonna try to correct it through getting compliance, through education. And then if it's still not being taken care of, then we just go to the next step. But that was a good question, so I would tell everybody, just call.
Because I know there's been situations in the past where, like, say they can see it from their backyard, but they can't see it from the street. So does it help if a resident tries to take photos and document some of it a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely, as involved as you want to get, because, and that's another good question.
Without breaking the law, because there are
Right,
also
and-
people that
and-
try to go on other
So
people's
there's a couple
property.
ways to do that. One, you take the videos, you take the pictures, you send them us, call Patty, she'll tell you how to send it us via email
Okay.
or another app. Or you invite us over and we go into your backyard because you're letting us in your backyard and we'll observe it. You know, it just depends. A lot of people don't want to get involved.
No, I
But they
know.
care for the animal. So for all those that shy away from getting involved, call us.
No.
Call us anyway, we'll go out there.
No, because sometimes people will beat the city up for not doing anything,
Mhm.
but if you don't tell them what's going on and
Then we
at
don't
least
know.
help them, provide them with
Yes.
some kind of evidence, then they can't
Yes.
do anything. So,
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
Me? Want somebody else? Well, I don't have a question, but on the spirit of best practices, and you know, I have been researching this for 7 months now. This is from Australia. They are gonna start a new program because they're having the same feral cats issues. It's all over. I'm in multiple pages from Australia, England, different places where they're having the same issues. So starting in July 2022, so they're giving a whole year to start all of this and cracking down the law. The new cats will not be allowed to roam freely outside the homes as of July under the cat containment plan. This measure is part of a wider strategy to reduce the impact of feral, unowned, and domestic cat on native wildlife because they do kill animals, wildlife, and all of that. So we have seen that. I have seen, and I share with you what PETA did is on TNR. They believe that it's cruel. The cat owners will still allow to walk their cat outside, but only if they're on a leash, which is, we have a leash law in Deltona, so we do have that. Those that don't follow the rules could be forced to pay a fine up to $1,600. So this is from Australia. I will share with you the news, like I always
Thank you,
do.
yes.
But I wanted to bring it up to you because I know you've been looking at the best practices. So it's not Deltona only, it's not the state of Florida, it's not just the United States, it's all over. This is worldwide. And a lot of cities and a lot of other places are looking for better ways to control this and to provide a happy medium for everybody. I think in Deltona, we do have amazing laws, we have ordinances that they need to be followed. I think Ms. Charlene worked really hard with other people to make sure that not just cat, dogs, and any other animal within the city limits have rights and are protected and are loved. And I think, you know, for me, it's hard because we want to do all of this for these animals, but at the same time, when there's a hurricane, when there's like an amazing, like a heat wave and stuff, they're outside. They have no shelter sometimes. So, you know, are we really doing the right thing? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, send that to me and we'll just, I'll disseminate it and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Hi, my name's Mary, and I just wanted to, maybe not so much a question, but a statement. All this great experience that we have with our animal control, and I know how hard they work and how far out they're spread and everything everybody else does, but there's also a responsibility on the people that live in these houses. Recently, I just had to have all 6 corners in the roof of my house repaired because the wood dry rots. And that can become an entryway for, you know, animals, small animals, including cats and whatever else. So that's a responsibility on me as a homeowner to ensure that my house keeps those things out, right? So keep that in mind, that we all have that responsibility to our community to not attract. And there's a lot of things that you can use to repel cats from an area. There's citronella, lemongrass, you can put some sprays out. They have the scat mats that you could put along the border. And these are small expenses compared to the burden of having these cats. But cats don't normally just congregate in one area without some kind of a reason, right? There's food. I know my neighbor, she's got a ring. Last night she showed me that the cat, there's a couple cats, and she saw the mouse in its mouth. So she was kind of glad. You know, we've made sure that these cats in our area are all fixed. But there's a responsibility all of us have. And it's not just with keeping up our homes and our properties, but also to be neighbors to our community and helping out when we see a cat on the road or we see a cat that looks sick, we need to make a call. So I just wanted to offer that.
No, thank you. Some good points there, and our officers are in the unenviable position of going out there and balancing that.
Right.
With the neighbor that, who has the property rights, and the neighbor that has several outdoor cats.
Right.
So, and we're getting through that. We're working through that. This is part of the process. Yes. Any other questions or comments?
I'll ask one more. Does the city have any plans in the future to reach out to different organizations to get some grants? I know in the past years there was some grants through Halifax, so that a certain amount of residents could get some either low cost or free spay and neuters. There's also grants out there to supplement that TNR budget. So I was wondering if the city has any plans of reaching out to any of the organizations, locally or nationally.
Okay. So we do that. I met with the county a few weeks back, and we can do it ourselves, or we can do it through the county in the greater plan for the total county, and the county will come to Deltona, as you said, for 1 or 2 of those days, or 1 day a month or 2 days a month to provide those services. So right now we're working through the county. I don't think we're at the stage yet where we want to 2 entities competing for the same fund. If we all can work together and get complete the mission.
But definitely Halifax Humane Society too. I know in past years they've worked with them.
And we discussed, with the veterinary school right there at U of F, and Volusia County has a great relationship with the university, and just working on, we brainstormed a little bit.
Yeah, because
on
UF
different
Health
things.
has the veterinary program.
Yes.
And they also have the
Yes.
Million Cat Challenge program.
Yes.
So they definitely are a good resource.
Yes. Good?
I've got a question.
Yes.
In the presentation, my understanding is that we've done a good job to level off the feral population. Has there been any movement to reduce the feral population? Because it seems like TNR has gotten to the point where it's been as effective as it can be. What's the next step, or have we looked at next steps to reduce the population now?
So that is the mission, and I'll be candid with you, since I've been here watching it. I've asked those same questions because some of the colonies have grown.
Yep.
And I continually get emails and videos of people that are telling other people outside Deltona that, hey, if you're moving, just drop your cat in Deltona, they'll take care of it. So we have to change that narrative somehow, some way. We're in the process of that. But the mission is to reduce the number, and that is the mission. And I will say, we've had a lot of success with a lot of the colonies out there. Some we have not, but we're in the process of dealing with those area managers on best practices, and then just trying to get to those cats before they reproduce. So.
I'd like to make 2 follow-up comments. The first being that I think the goal definitely needs to be a reduction. With the question that was asked, how do you balance property rights with somebody else's right to have an outdoor pet? My dogs don't just run free, so I think those leash laws should apply to all pets. And also say that our pets are property. So it's not property rights versus pets rights, it's property rights versus property rights. And those really end at the end of your property.
Right.
So we've got to kind of balance 2 citizens' property rights.
And so those are great points, and we're putting that to our magistrate, and he's earning his money. So we currently just have an aggressive dog case in front of him, and we have a nuisance cat case coming back, and these are 2 cats that are in a colony that are bothering people. Other people are bothered who don't want cats on their property. So we're going through so one of the things we need is the magistrate to rule on that. And then it comes down to who runs the TNR program, which is the city.
Yep.
Who manages it, the city. And then what do we do when we have a nuisance cat? So we're almost there. Hopefully 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, that we have we're going back to the magistrate. He continued it because he had some cases, but that's what we need. We just can't go out there, the supervisors just can't go out there and catch them, because right now we have a system. TNR can't just go out there and drop them wherever they want to drop them. So we're just shoring up the structure and the system. That way we can have a balanced system.
They bring them back to my neighbor's house.
And that's the process right now. And that's the process right now.
We need to fix that process.
Okay, I hear you.
Can I say one more thing about that right now? You know, the TNR is that they trap the cat, they get it fixed, so there's less fighting, there's less babies, there's less howling, all that business, and then they have to return it to where it was trapped.
Yes.
Okay, so now we also have a faction of people in Deltona that are trapping on their own and just relocating them. Okay, but cats, no, and they're gonna go back. So they go back, they become a traffic risk, and if they're pregnant, now they bring in their kittens. So that part, people don't need to be trapping if they're not doing the responsible thing.
And that's part of the education component that what we will be working on as a city. We have a duty to the residents to do that education component. And with social media and technology, how it is, we'll be able to push it out. But a lot of it's going to be one-on-one. I know Mr. Peters is working on rental agreements. 30% of the city has rentals. And one of those, you know, when you are renting a house or an apartment, you collect extra money if you have a pet. Well, we're trying to work with them on best practices that you also put in that lease. You make sure that they're spayed or neutered and that they're registered. Instead, so when those people move out, right? Those renters move out. If they do leave their pet behind, unfortunately and sadly, if they do, they won't be contributing to the population except for one.
Right.
And then we can take it from there.
Right.
So there's a lot of different issues that we're looking at. We're trying to put best practices in, and there always has to be follow-up.
Right.
I think maybe that's where we, as a city, might have dropped the ball as far as the follow-up, and we're going to fix that.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes, Mr. Peters.
John Peters, acting city manager. One of the things that we have been working on is, since I came on board, is we've been looking at the rental issue in the city. 30% of the single-family homes in Deltona are rentals. And we have been able to, through the help of our planning department and Ron Paradise over there, we have documented that you're twice as likely to have code violations, you're twice as likely to have crime, you're 2.5 times as likely to have drug overdoses. And we internally have been surmising you're probably 5 times as likely to have animal control issues with rentals. Because as John just pointed out, a lot of the cat population is people moving out, they're going to a place they can't take the cat, so they leave them behind. And I know of a situation my wife was involved in. The ladies at TNR have been incredible. The lady had a mama and I think 4 kittens that were left. Well, the mama was left, but she was pregnant. 4 kittens came out of it. The ladies with TNR came in and assisted with getting them. Mama's getting fixed. The 4 kittens are hopefully going to be adopted. One of them is absolutely gorgeous kitten. I told my wife she can't have it because we've got 4 already. But the point being is somebody left those cats when they moved out. And for every one of those cats, the gentleman said, we've done a good job of stabilizing the population. We need, through information campaigns and other means, to get the word out about being responsible pet owners. We need to make people aware there is an alternative to just dumping the cat. And we need to provide that alternative so that they're kind of like if you live in a rural county, they have a dumpster in different places in the county, you go take your trash. Not equating cats to a trash, but if we had regional facilities where if somebody's moving out and they don't have an opportunity to take the cat, they have a safe place to take the cat, we can follow up, get with the Humane Society and what have you, get the mama fixed, get the kittens adopted, and hopefully mama is not too feral, that it's not an option, but if not, we put them in a community, but we can control the population that way. It's important that we give people a safe option rather than just leaving the animals. I personally, I can't see how people look themselves in the mirror when they do that. So with education, giving people other options with regard to what they do with their animals they can't take, I think we can do what this gentleman said when we start to reduce the population with the real purpose of TNR.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Peters? When you said 30%, is that like apartment complexes or is that single-family homes where, people are renting?
Single-family homes are 30% rentals in the city.
Thanks.
I just want to second comments. I lived in Deltona over 30 years. I'm a licensed real estate broker too. I don't know about this cat problem. I don't do property management anymore. But these volunteers for the TNR are awesome. I don't see the girl I've been working with in the room, but I've been working with them, and they work their asses off for nothing. I mean, they do it for the love of the animals. But what you have to educate is the people. It's not the people dumping off the cat. It's the other people that's out there feeding the cats.
Yeah, we have road feeders, that's one of the big
Well,
problems.
I have a lady in my neighborhood, she does it all the time. I think she makes people crazy, even her cat, I think. Is
So that's a great comment. What we need is going back to what, with the running, the theme here, and I'll let you continue, because I'll forget. The running theme here is education, information. So unless, going back to what somebody said earlier, started off, call us. Call us. We would love to go out there and educate that person. Not only educate that person, but tell them what they're doing is wrong. And there could be other things, other steps.
So my question is, how many times are you going to educate her? Because I have photographed her at least 6 more times out there feeding cats, and now I understand. I know I've trapped 2. I know there was at least 6 others, and now I've been told there's a bunch of babies down there.
Richard, you want to take that?
And
What else
it's
would
the
you do?
same woman doing the same thing in the neighborhood.
And I'm going to let Supervisor Lovett handle that one.
And that would be one that we would want you to call and give us that
I
information?
called him.
Okay. And if it, I'm trying to figure out where she's doing it at. Do we?
Over on Lydia, and then there's also one, there's 2 close in the vicinity, the other one is on Freeport and Atchison.
Okay, I will get with you as soon as this is done, and I'll get the information, and I'll see what the officers are doing. But yeah, we need to stop and tell them that they're not gonna be able to do it that way.
So the question is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the question is, we've been out there, we've talked to them, but what's the next step if they keep feeding?
Then if they don't listen to us, then we're gonna take them before the magistrate. So we're going to try to educate, we're going to try and work with them. If they're a TNR volunteer, or let's just say, they're saying they're feeding through the TNR program, then we're gonna reach out to TNR going, meet us out at this house and let's discuss it with them together. And if that doesn't work, our next step is we're gonna take them to special magistrate, and then we're gonna go after them that way.
What laws are they breaking?
There is, even if they are part of the TNR program, if they're found as a nuisance, then we can go that way.
Okay.
Now, that's what we tried with them, so once we got that ruling, that's what we're working on.
I just want to make sure that we're shoring up some ordinances so that we have some grounds for action and not just education, education, education
Yeah,
with no backup.
and so I'll go back to, we have 2 in front of the magistrate now, one was handled the other day, one's coming back, but that's part of it, so.
Well, that's essentially case law, not.
I've heard, well, no, but I've heard, since I've been here, that our ordinances are too weak.
Yep.
Our TNR program needs to be updated. So I'm looking at those things, so the magistrate will tell us if our ordinances are too weak, or can we enforce them. If we can't enforce them, then we need to sit down with our city attorney and look at best practices, which we're already doing, to get better ordinances. And then as far as our TNR program, we're just looking at it and putting in best practices, current best practices, because a lot of it's already being done. So, Commissioner.
Well, we've just recently revised and gone through our entire ordinances on animal control. And I think that was one of the questions that we brought up during those discussions was, how do we get people to obey the ordinance? And if we don't have some type of penalty for disobeying the ordinance, then what good is the ordinance in the first place?
Exactly.
And I was under the impression that we had some penalties written into those new ordinances. I'm encouraging everyone that I talk to about animals and animal control to go to the city website and get a copy of the new ordinance, because people don't even know yet what the new ordinances say. And I think it's important that they do, because, you know, it's like driving around the neighborhood and seeing all the parked cars where they're not supposed to be.
Right.
You know, we have the same issue with our animals. And at some point, people have to start, you know, paying the penalty for disobeying the ordinance. I've got a couple things that bother me. One, I saw on Facebook just in the last couple of days a post about somebody shooting cats. Have you all seen or heard anything about that?
So we were sent a screenshot on that, and we're gonna have a meeting to figure out what we can do as a group, or we're gonna turn it over to the sheriff's office, because they at least can go out and talk to them and then investigate from there. But so the short answer is yes, it'll be investigated.
All right. Whenever you have situations, you always have a victim. You know, somebody's a perpetrator, and you always have a victim. I'm making this up now, okay? I'm going to be very hypothetical here, so I don't point my finger at anyone in particular. I have a neighbor, and my neighbor loves cats. And my neighbor does just what y'all are talking about, except they do it in their backyard. Okay? So, not only is my neighbor feeding 35 or 40 cats next door, but after the cats are done eating, guess who comes to eat? About 50 raccoons come in. So I got to deal with all the raccoons too. I called animal control, and they don't seem to think that it's an issue because, you know, they're not in my yard except for one thing. They're eating next door. But guess what they're doing in my yard?
They live on the other side of you, so they're going through your yard.
They come over the fence and they're doing all their business in my backyard. And I enjoy my backyard. You know, I like sitting out there and watching the sunset. You know, I like, you know, having a cold beer and smoking a cigar and kicking my feet up on the table. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't like being out there anymore because it smells. It's terrible. So I've decided that I'm going to start trapping some cats. And I'm going to get rid of them myself. I'll relocate them just like you were saying earlier. I'll relocate them because I can't put up with it. I can't put up with 30 or 40 cats eating next door and coming over the fence and doing what they're doing in my yard. But I've been told by animal control who came out to my house and said, we heard you were trapping cats. Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of all these crazy cats that are in my yard. Well, you can't do that. You're breaking the law. And if you continue to do that, you're going to be fined or go before the magistrate. I'm the victim here. Why am I getting penalized for trying to keep my place looking clean and nice and being able to use my backyard? And that's an issue that's for real in the city. And those are things that I think we need to address, and we need to fix that. You know, I love my cats, but my cats stay in the house.
Amen.
They do not go outside. And I have a couple. I love my dogs, but they go outside on a leash unless they're in my yard, and I got a big yard, so they stay inside on my property. When they decide to run, you should see me trying to run down the road behind them, trying to catch up with them. It's not a fun sight to see. But that's, you know, I'm always outside with my animals. So it's still a problem that I think that we need to look at and try to address, because I've had several people in this district and other districts that I know from different places around town that have this issue. And I think we need to look at that and figure out a way to solve that. I mean, you know, these people shouldn't have to stop using their backyards just because the neighbor next door wants to feed 40 cats. And I know a couple of people that are, you know, they can't afford food on the table, but they go to Publix and buy bags of cat food and dump them behind Publix and out around, you know, Burger King or the Taco Bell, and they can't afford to eat, but they're feeding the cats. And I've talked to that particular person on many occasions. Doesn't do one bit of good. Not one bit of good.
And we're working through that issue. I mean,
Yeah, I know, because you just said that a minute ago.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
No,
It's an issue that's going on all over.
Yes.
John, if I can, Commissioner King, I love you.
I know you do.
Okay, I want to put that out there before I get started. Next week, we start the budget workshops. One of the recommendations that Mr. O'Grady has provided is that we're extremely short of staff for what we need to do. And the budget has 6 more code officers and 1 analyst that is in the budget. As I referred to earlier, we do have a rental property problem. We got the go-ahead from commission recently to start the ordinance process to do a rental license program that would cost approximately $250 a year. That would bring in close to $2.5 million. that would basically split the money between code enforcement, fire, and police. So for those residents that pay the Avalon taxes, they're not subsidizing the renters that are creating the problem. So I take some of the load off. One of the things Mr. Brady made reference to earlier is the city taking ownership of TNR. Because we've been short of staff, it's been difficult to do. The TNR ladies they're angels as far as I'm concerned. The example you gave is what I would call an illegal colony. It's not a registered colony. It needs to be either a registered colony with controls over it, or transferred over to a registered colony where they could be monitored. So that's all part of what we're looking to do. I appreciate your bringing your concerns up because it's a very common theme. And these wonderful code officers have heard people. We've already, this is the second workshop, we're gonna have a few more. And we're gonna take the information from this and put in more recommendations going forward. But we need to have colonies that we know that Willie, the black and white tuxedo cat is there, Debbie, the orange Celtic tabby is there. We know which cats are there. And so when we see a new one, that one doesn't belong here, we can get involved. So we are aware, part of the reason that we're here is to hear more. And then we will put, as John said, best practices in place to address it. Because what you're describing, we have heard in several other places in the city, and that's something that we need to address.
Hang on 1 minute, Pam. Cut you off like 10 times.
That's okay. I wanted to say that the particular colonies I'm talking about has created another issue that we had a problem with in Deltona, I don't know, 10 years ago with all the ugly black and redhead ducks. So those are back multiplying again because they're feeding the cats and then eating the leftover food. And then the ducks come and the raccoons come and armadillos come, they all come. So it's creating lots of problems. So it's another reason you have to start addressing these people that are think they're helping by feeding and they're not. They're just creating more problems for us.
Ironically, we have the opposite problem she has. Last week I had 2 piles of duck feathers in my backyard.
Wow.
Duck feathers.
That's what it was. It was seriously, it's 2 piles of duck feathers.
Those are really more like raccoons and hawks and eagles, and right now we got coyotes practically in daylight right now.
Those,
You had some?
Yeah, so Mr. Peters just brought up a scenario where a cat was dumped or left behind, and she was pregnant and had 4 kittens. So they reached out to TNR. So TNR doesn't just handle feral cats, but it also handles friendly cats now. So that's one question. The second question is the kittens that were adopted out, who's adopting them out?
So the first question, and I'm not sure about his scenario, but the first question, what TNR will do, since it's a lost cat, possibly a feral cat, they'll go there, they'll collect it, they take it to Halifax, and then Halifax is supposed to try to get the kittens adopted out. Now your second question, who tries to adopt the cats out, the kittens out when they get them? So I've seen what I think you've seen, where TNR, through social media, there may be some of the volunteers who are saying, hey, we have kittens. We want to get them out there, get them adopted. Anybody want a good one? But the process is to deliver them to Halifax and go through the proper procedure. So if there's anything that isn't going through that, then we'll address it.
So it's Halifax that adopts the kittens or friendly cats out. It's
So
Halifax.
I'm going to double check with Richard, Danny, Patty. Is that the process as I know it?
Go ahead.
I thought some rescues will go in if there's cats that are gonna be euthanized, and some rescues will go and pull them and then
Okay, but
socialize
that's not
them and get them
picking up our
ready.
cats.
I'm sorry?
But that's not picking up our cats.
Well, I know
So,
in my house there was two, one was pregnant and they were aborted, so we never even saw those.
okay, explain it.
Okay, my understanding of the practice at Halifax is that once an animal is brought into them, there's a 3-day hold put on the animal so that they can be behaviorally assessed to make sure that they're spayed or neutered and have their shots before they are adopted out. That is my extent of the knowledge. I'm sure, Richard, you have more to add to that.
And I would say, if we want to get probably the best answer, I would say let's ask from our TNR rep that volunteer that's here. Brooke.
Yeah, just for the record, sorry that I was late. I was actually helping somebody with kittens that caused my delay. There's times that we do take in kittens personally from the streets if we were not able to catch and spay the mother and give her an abortion prior, which we absolutely do and will repeatedly do. But when there's kittens out there, we take them in, we find them homes, and do all of those things, usually through rescue groups that we ourselves volunteer with or are affiliated with. There are many times, though, as any of our officers could state, that when we do get the call, hey, we got 3 baby kittens, got newborn kittens, I got 4-week-old kittens, that we're like, sorry, I can only do X amount of kittens, that has surpassed it, and then they do take those to Halifax. But either way, we're going to go to Halifax, and if they live, you know, or if one of us takes them and they make it to 8 weeks fruition, then they would be going through all the proper channels to be vaccinated, tested, sterilized, dewormed, defleed, all of that stuff. Regardless, we're making sure that nothing is going on to procreate. So I hope that clarifies somewhat. Teresa, did I miss anything? I mean, like.
Other than the food, most of the shots, I mean, stuff like that, that's out of our pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing the city pays for
Like
ever.
formula for bottle feeding
None of that.
kittens, we pay for all that. The city doesn't pay for that.
All right, but I was just curious about
Okay.
who
Right.
is adopting them out. I'm not-
Okay.
Yeah.
I know with me, I will do an adoption application. I will do a background check.
And we get it.
And yes, yeah, absolutely fixed. And there was one other thing. I'm sorry, I just went over.
So is a TNR volunteer that does the adoption facility?
Sometimes we're often out in the field, like,
Yeah.
we're the ones out there who go and trap the cats and fix them and do all the stuff, and, you know, like Ms. Cox here is amazing, because me, you talked about, it's not here tonight, I came from her house, that's why I'm late. But, you know, usually we have residents, so we can, here's a trap, here's how you do it, here's how you set it, cover it with a sheet, hit me up when it's caught, and then we do all the da-da-da-da. Sometimes there's people who can't, won't, are unable, their work schedule, whatever. So then we do go out to their homes and set the traps, and do all that stuff for them, with them, whatever. But when you've got a group of cats, well, cats make kittens, that's what we're trying to stop, and we can't, you know, if we really don't want to leave the kittens out there. And at the same time, once we brought them in and poured time, money, energy, love, and heartache into them, we also can't keep them because then it's not going to work.
Then we would have 30 or 40.
Right, then we all do, whatever, because I'm crazy now. So, then we, like I said, through those avenues to get everybody, you know, into an appropriate home caretaking type thing. And people have asked me, oh, do you put the kittens back? If we pick up a 6-week-old kitten, I cannot take that home and wait for it to wait for sterilization, even 2 pounds. It's gonna take 2, 3, 4 weeks and take it back to the circle cat. That's just not gonna work out. Now, if it's 12, 14, 16 weeks old, it's past the window of socialization, depending on what that animal is like at that time. There have been times I'm like, that wants to eat me. So we're gonna fix you, ear tip you, vaccinate you, and put you back, because the R stands for return to where it came from. But it's 12, 14, 6 months old, 3 years old, and it's, I'm like, hey, okay, you know, let's see what we can do to get this cat off the street and into a better situation. While I'm talking, though, just for the record, myself and the ladies here tonight, and those of us who are out there on the regular trapping, we don't condone a lot of these feeding practices.
No, right, no, we don't.
I'm not that level of crazy cat lady, and I know specifically who Ms. Cox is talking about. I have gone around that individual. So I'm just real hopeful that moving forward with Mr. Brady and everything that we've been doing all together as a team, there's going to be some ways to get people to do. Like, you want to feed the cats? Fine. Put the food down, wait 20, 30 minutes, once or twice a day, pick it up, and leave, and don't feed the ducks. Don't leave it for the raccoons. Don't leave it for the rest of the creatures and drive your neighbors insane.
Thank you,
And
Brian.
then elaborate.
I think that's why
We don't
those
like that
feeders,
either.
I think that's why those feeders have to be slapped. I mean,
Yeah.
just so naturally, they need some sense. They need a fine. They need a fine. Because they don't, that isn't even in their thoughts and minds.
No.
All they do is go out there, pour the food out, or
And it's disgusting.
I get a guy in my neighborhood that puts bowls out. The bowls are out there all the time. They're on the side of the road.
We've gone in and cleaned up places that look like a mess, garbage, paper plates. It's awful.
I got a question for y'all out here. All together, everybody, TNR, all together, how many traps do you have?
Never enough, but if I counted every single one that was working.
I have 6.
You have 6? We probably have access to about 35 working traps, and that's if I
Okay.
called everybody. And then if I had a real situation, because there are residents that are, I wouldn't say they're volunteers per se, but they are amenable to, and they've helped the program, and they've been really helpful. I could probably call another dozen people who I know have 1 trap, 2 traps. We always pick them up off Marketplace. Anybody buys a cat trap for 10 or 20 bucks on the internet, let me know. I will reimburse you your 10 or 20 bucks because those things are valuable.
Yeah.
We take the old ones even, and we tie them open. I call them feeder traps. So if somebody's got a group of cats, we take out a multitude of traps. So like they say they got 4 or 5, whatever cats, 12, 100, I don't know. But we take out an amount of traps and try to get the person to feed in the traps and only in the traps. Which only takes a couple days. And then they can say, hey, half of these cats, you know, they're starting eating the traps, yay. Because then we want to time their appointments with our clinics so we can go out, like on, if I got the Friday appointments, go out on Wednesday, set half of the traps, or all the traps, and see what we can catch. And go back the next day to get the hanger back cats, because usually the alpha cats will come first and the cat who gets his butt beat comes last. Try to get the whole group in a small amount of time, get them all done, which also means that usually it's volunteers recuperating the animals too.
Which is a mess, by the way.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Exactly.
We get it done, and that way, instead of, you know, Dee brings a cat, I bring a cat, Stephanie brings a cat, all of us getting 1 or 2 cats every week for 6 months, cats are still breeding in every group. I just want to go in and just, whoop,
Mass trap.
mass trap, and I have one scheduled tomorrow night. I'll be late for tomorrow night's meeting also, guys, sorry.
Okay, well, that was the direction I was heading with my
Okay.
question. Because it doesn't, if we know where all of these colonies are, or we know where a majority of them are, we know the ones we know about. If we're going out there with mass traps, and we're catching all the cats within a reasonably short time, seems like to me, if I'm standing over here and there's a cat over there, I don't know whether that cat's ever been trapped or not. I don't know if it's ever been neutered or not.
Your cat.
Are you doing that?
Oh, absolutely.
So you're marking
And
them
when he
with,
goes back out in the street, the top of one ear will be blunted off. You'll look and you'll go, that cat, what happened to his ear? Did somebody bite it? What
Okay.
happened?
Okay.
They surgically ear checked during the sterilization.
okay, so,
Oh, yeah.
so that's being done.
Yeah.
So now you can trap cats, and if you trap a cat that's got its ear blunted, you say, okay, let him go.
Yeah.
Just let him go, put another one in
Yeah. Oh,
there,
yeah.
get another one. Okay.
Or if I know like that's the neighbor's cat, Bobby, the orange fluffy sweet cat, whatever, and he always comes. And Bobby keeps going in the trap. Okay, Bobby, sit in the trap. Here's a can of 9 lives. just maintain. When I leave for the night, let you back up, because you keep going back and back. Because some of them will do that.
So, I got a question for you. Sorry, you can go.
No, it's all right.
So, you said you've got 35 traps. Will more traps help you?
More
always.
volunteers, more traps, more.
Mr. Peters, Commissioner, can we work on getting the city getting them more traps? If that will help them keep a better watch on the colony to make sure we can get more of the pregnant cats and get more of the kittens spayed and neutered, can we work on getting that?
Yeah, so that's part of the overall, and I don't want to cut Brooke off because it's a lot of great information, but we've got to keep going.
Well, I think Leila has a question.
And yeah, I see the hand up, and I'll get to you in a minute. So yes, that's part of the officers, that's part of the equipment, that's part of the budget, putting all that together so we can go out there. We're going to restructure the way the city works with TNR. As Brooke just alluded to, we're going to have a stronger partnership. That way we can attack it together.
Well, it's technically our program by our ordinances.
Yes, not technically, it is. And I'm just going to say it just needs to be shined up a little bit.
Yeah.
And dusted off and ramped back up. So, yes.
All right, so me being Joe and Q citizen, I happen to know who Brooke is, but not everybody does. So when there's a feral cat or a problem with feeding cats, someone goes out and says, hey, there's a problem with doing this. Oh, I'm with TNR. How did they prove that they're with TNR?
So we've had that issue since I've been here. So that's part of the education and the informational issue that we're working with TNR on, because we've actually talked to Brooke about some people, and she said that they're not part of the program. And because this is a great program, nationwide, worldwide, and so for people to use the name that the city is helping to manage isn't working, because then we have these other issues over here. Because when Brooke does go out, and I've been here long enough to see that they don't listen to TNR. And so part of the process is going to be, we're going to go out as animal control, we're going to try to address the issue, we're going to bring in a TNR volunteer for informational purposes, best practices, and if the person still will not comply, then our hands are tied and we take the next step. Going back to this gentleman back here, which means you'll go to the magistrate, and what the commissioner is saying, you'll start being fined if you do not comply with what is going on.
So my position as citizen who does not know who Brooke is and does not know who a TNR volunteer actually is to go ahead and call code enforcement on this column.
Correct.
Okay.
Going back to Charlene at the very beginning, when you see it, call us.
Call them.
So, by the time this is put into effect, will the city issue an ID badge of some kind
Some kind of
to
identification.
TNR volunteers? And if they leave the city or they don't want to do this anymore, that badge comes back to the city?
So that's a great idea, and we're actually working with legal on all the liability issues that may or may not have been addressed on TNR bringing in the cats and all that. But yes, an ID, a city's formatted ID is probably the way to go. Yes.
Does the city have any other volunteer programs or programs where they have volunteers?
Yeah, we have other programs. Yes.
Can we just run them through that same volunteer system?
Well, we're looking at everything. This is a unique program, but
city-run program with volunteers.
You're
We
right.
have some pieces of it, but it's a city-run program with volunteers.
You're right. Yep.
The foundation's there.
Well, that's a great question, but this is a unique program. Most of our volunteers are in city facilities and stuff like that. These are people that are out in the community. So, I'm a joke here, don't take it any other way, but if we would give them a t-shirt with a kitty cat on the back with angel wings and that's the TNR t-shirt, then everybody would think of that as their uniform. But, the TNR program is very unique, and these are volunteers that are throughout the community. Other volunteer programs, like I said before, the coaches at basketball league, they're in our gym. We know when they come in the door who they are. So, as John said, this is kind of a unique situation. We're trying to take ownership of it, and And when I say that, I'm not denigrating anyone, it's just that we have had issues with people who claim they're part of TNR, or they claim they have a certified colony, and it creates problems.
No, it's important. I'm supporting that.
Yeah.
I just want to state too, though, Deltona is not the only Volusia city that does it this way. Orange City to Berry is also volunteer driven on their TNR program.
Right.
Just FYI.
I just got one more thing. When you said about strengthening our ordinances, and some ordinances impact other ordinances, and I got a thing about the fireworks. It's like any kind of holiday or birthday, and fireworks scare cats, dogs out into the yards, and then nobody can find them. Dogs chase cat. You know, it just adds to it. So if we can like put a little bit more emphasis on the fireworks, I know it's in there, but people don't. They just ignore it.
They don't enforce it.
They just ignore it. They
My
don't.
dogs love the fireworks.
I'm sorry, what?
My dogs love the fireworks.
Well, yours do, but my cats don't, and I don't. I have
All right, being
PTSD.
respectful of everybody's time, any
Right,
other
right, right.
questions? This was all good. Thank you very much, some very good input, some good questions, some great comments. Commissioner?
I don't really have anything. We're watching the time. I appreciate y'all being out here this evening. I think this is a good group of people that came out this evening. I think we've had some really good questions and some really good comments, and I think we've given these folks some valuable ideas and comments so that they can help to formalize our plans for the future. So thanks for being here, and we'll wait for the next one.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.